fancy dress. I was going to start with something I've been playing through in my head whilst I was listening to people talk, but I'm not an employee of higher education anymore. But for people who know, I worked here too. And actually, the last time I was back in such lovely company during a strike was the last USS strike. And I just moved to Sheffield several months before that happened. Because for similar reasons, I was kind of fed up of the management here. I was fed up of overwork. I was fed up of being forced to comply with metrics that I was never going to be able to win. I was fed up of the professional service staff in my department who were burnt out and who were having to deal with increasing student numbers, because if we didn't get people through the door, we'd have to make people redundant. And I think, listening to what people are saying, nothing has changed. In fact, it's got worse, I think. So I am back here for another USS dispute, but as is clear, we're also here because of a different type of dispute as well, because of pay and equality, because of casualisation, and because of workload. And what's really frustrating is we all know this, and university managers know this. We fill in staff survey after staff survey, whether you were new to Leicester, whether you've been somewhere else. This isn't news. And yet when we bring it up, we're treated as if nobody's ever heard of this before. And what's extra frustrating about this dispute is that just before the ballots opened, I'll tell you a little story, I was having a negotiation meeting. This one was actually about USS, but I think it applies to the kind of the general tone of these two disputes. So I was speaking with, it's panto season, so feel free to boo at any point after that. I was speaking with Adam Tickell. Excellent. And he was telling me, in a way that only kind of senior professors can, a junior colleague who's a woman, he was telling me about how, with these ballots, we would get 20 branches over the line. Shade. But actually, he was saying that as if, won't that be embarrassing for you? Won't that be embarrassing for the union? Won't that really be embarrassing for the sector? And you are one of 60 branches that are on strike today. And people shouldn't have to get up here and trade their trauma of working in HE to get managers to care. People shouldn't have to take 8 days of strike action and all of the consequences that go along with that to get our managers to stand up and listen. And yet we are here again. So well done to all of you for showing them they're wrong. But also well done for those of you who are saying it, that you will do this again. Because this is really important, because when you are faced with the level of obliviousness that we have been faced with by the people that are negotiating on behalf of Vice-Chancellors, we are left with no other option than to do this. And what we learned with the last USS dispute, and what we are learning already, is that direct action works. So give yourself another... We have been told this week and last week, despite years of our negotiators, or rather our employers' negotiators, saying that they cannot negotiate nationally on workload, that they cannot negotiate nationally on casualisation, and that they cannot negotiate nationally on closing those gaps, that actually they're willing to put those on the table. So shame that they have said that they can't before. But your action has done this.
It's a Christmas miracle.
Thanks, Tiny Tim. And this is why we have to be willing to do this again. And none of us want to, I understand that, or maybe you do. Maybe these 8 days have actually been a nice break in some ways.
Yes!
But we shouldn't have to. And it is a shame that we have had to withdraw our labour to get to this point. It is a shame that our employers will often say that when we are on picket lines, we are neglecting the welfare of our students. What is a neglect of the welfare of students? Are counselling services that are overburdened, full of counsellors that are burnt out. What is a shame is too many students for staff to actually be able to deal with, and therefore students are neglected by virtue of there being too few people. What is neglectful of students' welfare is when staff are just simply unable to stick around and have to leave. And what is also really neglectful of students' welfare, and I think this is where vice-chancellors and management teams who think of themselves as decent have to stand up and call out their colleagues, because at the University of Liverpool last week, we saw shameful bullying emails sent to students, warning international students in particular that if they do not cross picket lines, that they may be in violation of attendance monitoring and in worst case scenarios could be deported. We are not border control, we are the university. And that is what we are fighting here. We are fighting for our pensions. But as Chris said before, it's this sort of obliviousness of no matter how many times we say it, no matter how professional we are in saying it, no matter how many experts on a panel of people who literally know this thing like the back of their hand provide an elegant roadmap to an elegant solution to this dispute, get ignored. And then people who are paid hundreds of thousands of pounds to be influential, to be effective, claim they can't even influence their colleagues. It's not good enough, and we are here telling our managers it is not good enough. And before I finish, I want to give a shout out to students. Students played such a vital role during the USS dispute, more so here than perhaps anywhere. Look, Millie, I'm looking at you. And we cannot really underestimate just how powerful knowing our students support us is. Sometimes that's just not crossing picket lines, sometimes that is occupying buildings, sometimes that's actually statements of support. It takes all forms, but for students in this highly marketised system where management will often try and get students to think of themselves as consumers, for students to refuse to allow themselves to be weaponised is incredibly powerful. And thank you to any student here today or any student up and down the UK who's been taking part for your solidarity. It is beautiful. The managers and the vice-chancellors up and down the UK who have been hurt these past 8 days by the criticisms that they've had levelled at them, or just actually having to hear honestly what staff think about the state of their management and the way in which they're allowing the UK higher education system to be run, I have a few things to say. Conflict is not abuse. Criticism is not abuse. And when power inequality is the way in which it is in universities, sometimes parody is all we have left. So, you have been amazing. What we've seen over the past week is a surge in membership, picket lines that have been bigger than during USS, and we are also nearly at £100,000 in donations to the Fighting Fund. The public is with us, even the Financial Times is with us. And what we ask now is that Vice-Chancellors who want to work to end this dispute genuinely come with us with more than words. So make sure that today carries on being as loud as possible. If we have to call for strike action in the new year, bring this level of visibility and noise because direct action works, and make it that the next time I'm here in Leicester, it's a victory party. So